You thought the rich got there by being smarter, working harder, or simply getting lucky? Wrong. They're rich because they play a game built behind closed doors, where laws are tools, taxes are strategy, and media is private property. They don't show off. They hide. They aren't loud, but they're untouchable. While the masses chase likes and luxury, the wealthy build empires silently, twist the market from behind the curtain. This isn't a video about getting rich. This is a hidden blueprint, one that quietly creates dominance while the rest of the world watches shadows. Now, step into the shadows, where real money is built before anyone even notices. Wealth must be hidden to be preserved. The truly wealthy never make noise. They vanish from the spotlight, not because they fear attention, but because they understand the risk it brings. Living below your means keeps lawsuits away, dodges taxation, and protects you from moochers. They don't need praise. They need freedom to act. Like predators in camouflage, they move through society undetected, not because they're weak, but because they're strategic. Every step is silent. Every decision is designed to compound without interruption. Silence isn't weakness, it's a financial shield. The less visible you are, the fewer people ask for handouts, the fewer fake friendships appear, and the fewer threats come your way. When you appear average, you're left alone, and that's exactly when you win. You invest without being questioned. You build quietly while others seek attention. The power of stealth is freedom. No eyes on your wallet, no pressure to explain your choices. The world assumes being rich means being seen, but the opposite is true. The need to be seen reveals insecurity. The wealthiest understand this and intentionally disappear. Their money grows in silence. Their name never surfaces. No media appearances, no flashy updates. They don't hide because they're afraid. They hide because control is easier in the dark. Invisibility isn't weakness. It's weaponized discretion. Wealth doesn't need to be shown, only reinvested in silence. The rich don't seek applause. They seek compound interest. They invest quietly, let the numbers work, and avoid public praise. They're not modest, they're tactical. Every ounce of attention is a risk. So they reject attention, ignore showmanship, and measure success by cash flow. They don't chase applause, they chase freedom. And oddly enough, the more invisible they become, the more unstoppable their wealth gets. They understand the time game. A small amount, properly timed and reinvested consistently, becomes a fortune. They don't care about short-term returns. They care about long-term income streams. While others ask, how can I get rich fast? They quietly collect interest without saying a word. The moment you rush, you've already lost. That's how the system punishes impatience. Stealth wealth isn't about being cheap, it's about control. They avoid status spending. They ignore emotional buying. They don't care about public approval. They focus on assets that generate income for decades. No posts, no updates, no need to explain. Their wealth doesn't need a spotlight. It needs reinvestment, protection, and silence. That's not a lack of ambition. It's how power consolidates. Don't work for money, make money work for you. Anyone trading time for money is stuck in a cage. The wealthy don't do that. They build systems that earn while they sleep. Rental properties, dividends, digital assets, royalties. These streams don't rely on effort, they rely on infrastructure. When your money earns money and you're not involved, you finally gain control. They don't grind harder, they scale smarter. Debt terrifies the average person, but not the rich. They use debt to expand their asset base, they borrow to invest. They use other people's capital to buy cash-flowing assets. A property bought with a mortgage brings monthly income, not liability. They don't try to get out of debt. They make debt work for them. It's not a trap, it's leverage. Compound interest isn't luck, it's exponential math. Your money earns, then your earnings earn, then those earnings compound again. Over time, small amounts snowball into fortunes. That's why the rich start early. Not because they're lucky, but because time is their silent ally. You don't need brilliance, you need patience and consistency. Wealth is what happens when discipline and time shake hands. Shadow finance, a game outsiders can't enter. The public stock market is the stage for the crowd. The real players sit backstage, where private equity, hedge funds, and off-market deals decide who gets rich. These assets aren't advertised, they're reserved for insiders. Those who were invited long before the headlines appeared. No ads, no open bidding, just connections, capital, and timing. Outsiders see closed doors. Insiders don't even see doors. They're already inside. By the time the market reacts, wealth has moved silently. If you see the opportunity, you're already too late. Hedge funds aren't about ideals. They profit in both directions, up or down. They move aggressively, playing with volatility the average investor doesn't understand. Private equity buys broken businesses, restructures them, flips them quietly, and exits with massive profits, while staying invisible. No fanfare, no announcements, just targeted execution. These investment vehicles don't belong to the public. They're engineered for those with access, capital, and a seat at the back table. The market doesn't drive these outcomes, power does. Even real estate has a hidden layer. Off-market deals never touch listing sites. They're acquired through whispers, nods, and phone calls. The rich don't browse properties, they're notified privately. These assets don't need exposure. They move fast without noise. While the public is still waiting for a link, the contracts have been signed, the equity captured, and the returns secured. Deals close before the crowd even sees the opportunity. If you don't have access, you're not in the game. You're watching it from the bleachers. Relationships aren't bought. They're leveraged. True wealth isn't just in the assets. It's in access. Connections are currency. The wealthy don't search for opportunities online. They create them across private dinners and encrypted messages. The earlier you hear, the richer you get. Being in the right circle means getting in before anyone else even knows there's a door. When you pay public prices, they've already doubled their wealth in private. The best deals are never listed. They're passed hand to hand before the market even reacts. The rich don't wait for headlines, they write them. Their circle includes lawyers, politicians, bankers, founders. No application, no announcement, just quiet entry. The invitation comes before the data does. The moment it becomes public, it's too late. This isn't just wealth, it's preemptive control of the future. Even politics bends to their network. The right handshake unlocks tax breaks, permits, and legal cover. The average person files taxes. The rich hire architects to design their tax reality. It's not cheating, it's leverage. The law is a flexible tool for those who can afford the right interpretation. If you're not in the room, you don't shape the rules, you follow them blindly. Influence isn't shouted, it's whispered, and it rewrites the game in silence. Timeless formulas never go out of style. While others chase trends, the rich stay still. They've mastered the ancient laws of money that outperform every fad. They don't gamble on hype, they invest steadily, with discipline and a long-term lens. Compound interest is their axis of power, where money earns more money and those earnings multiply again. No hype, just math. Time plus reinvestment equals domination. Pay yourself first isn't advice, it's commandment. The rich treat it as non-negotiable. They invest before they spend, before they pay bills, before anything. They don't wait for surplus. They make investing the first step, not the last. Because if you don't prioritize your wealth, the world will prioritize taking it from you. They don't save what's left. They spend what's left after saving. That's the multiplier. Diversification isn't playing safe. It's surviving chaos. The wealthy don't rely on one asset. They spread across stocks, real estate, businesses, even collectibles. They don't predict winners. They avoid ruin. And above all, they wield patience like a weapon. While others need a 2x in 3 months, they wait 30 years for a 50x. They don't panic in volatility. They buy. The impatient bleed. The patient build. Tax is the legal weapon of the wealthy. The average person pays taxes with sweat. The rich pay with strategy. They don't break laws, they bend them. They know which income is punished and which is protected. Salaries are the worst kind, heavily taxed. But capital gains, real estate depreciation, tax-exempt entities, they're designed to favor those who build, not those who labor. The law isn't neutral, it rewards the architects of the game. While most people panic in tax season, the wealthy fine-tune their machine. They generate paper losses while collecting real cash. They target investments the government incentivizes, housing, energy, small business, and claim credits, deductions, and deferrals. It's not greed, it's fluency. Tax codes are opportunity maps in disguise, and only those fluent in their language extract wealth without resistance. Even generosity becomes a tool. They create foundations not just for impact, but for control. Charitable vehicles reduce taxes, protect assets, and shape outcomes. These aren't passive donations. they're strategic placements. Through these structures, wealth escapes inheritance taxes and still dictates future decisions. It's not just kindness, it's tactical dominance dressed as benevolence. Wealth isn't for spending, it's for passing on. The average person plans for tomorrow, the wealthy plan for centuries. Their money isn't for enjoyment, it's for endurance. They don't build alone, they build systems. Family trusts pass assets without courtrooms, without taxes, without delays. The wealth never leaves the bloodline. Control stays centralized. Nothing leaks, nothing gets lost. They don't hope their kids will be responsible, they guarantee it. Life insurance isn't just protection, it's a transfer weapon. They don't buy coverage just in case. They structure it to transfer millions, tax-free. Done right, it bypasses probate, skips estate taxes, and lands directly in the hands of the next generation. It's not an expense, it's leverage in disguise. Death isn't an end. It's the cleanest handoff in the financial world. But money isn't enough. Knowledge is the real heirloom. They build family offices not just to manage wealth, but to train heirs. Their children learn finance, negotiation, and strategy before they're old enough to vote. They're not taught how to spend, they're taught how to build. While others raise consumers, they raise asset builders. That's how families become dynasties. Control the media, shape the public. Wealth doesn't end with money. It expands through influence. The truly rich don't appear on media, they own the media. They don't join debates, they decide what gets debated. They donate to universities, hospitals, think tanks, and cultural centers, not just out of generosity, but to build soft power. These gifts buy access to rooms where policies are drafted, where social narratives are engineered. Control begins with perception, and they own the lens. When tax policies shift, when government incentives appear, the beneficiaries are never the majority. It's not coincidence, it's design. Lobbying doesn't just bend the rules, it rewrites the entire environment in favor of those who pay for it. They don't wait for democracy, they engineer outcomes long before votes are cast. It's not corruption, it's power used efficiently, quietly, surgically. Even culture is shaped behind the scenes. By owning news outlets, social platforms, and production companies, they subtly steer public opinion. A film, an article, a viral hashtag, they don't just entertain, they frame reality. What you think is your opinion might just be a well-crafted product of strategy. The rich don't fight for airtime, they purchase the narrative itself. Influence isn't a tool, it's a weapon deployed with precision disguised as freedom. Real wealth isn't in your balance, it's in your control. The rich don't wait for timing, they create it. They don't seek visibility, they seek systems. Their wealth isn't a result, it's a mechanism. Their decisions bend markets, not follow them. They don't react, they design. When you own the infrastructure, you don't have to compete. You make the rules everyone else follows. This isn't luck. This is engineered dominance. The real gap between the rich and the rest isn't opportunity, it's execution. One delays, the other acts. One waits for resources, the other uses whatever's available. It doesn't start with millions, it starts with mindset. The rich don't need doors to open, they break walls down. They don't ask how to get rich, they plan how to never stop multiplying. You don't need millions to begin, you need clarity. Every dollar is a weapon, if aimed correctly. The rich don't wait for the right moment, they move while others hesitate. Their money compounds, their silence protects, their patience dominates. And the difference between surviving and becoming unstoppable is just one decision: to start with strategy before the world gives you permission. Wealth isn't a finish line, it's a system that hides in plain sight. The rich don't seek attention, they control what goes unseen. They manipulate laws, shape markets, and pass assets across generations without leaving a trace. Every move is strategic, every asset is leveraged. They don't play big, they play silent and unbeatable. And if you're still waiting for a clear opportunity, you've already been excluded from the real game. This isn't about how to get rich. The real question is, do you have the discipline to disappear and begin building from the shadows?